more than enough business for all of us, and wouldn't it feel nice if all of us could work with people that we know we're just genuinely gonna connect with, have the same sort of principles, and be able to have a trusting, nice and friendly approach with it.
Welcome to the Sold Right Away podcast, where realtors stop playing small and start marketing like top producers. I'm Maude Léger, real estate marketing strategist and business owner obsessed with one thing: helping realtors build brands that attract listings, generate leads, and actually convert. Every week, I sit down with top performing agents and industry leaders to break down what's really working in today's market. No fluff, no theory, just real conversations and strategies you can implement immediately. If you're ready to stand out, scale intentionally, and win more business, you're in the right place. Let's get to work. Today, I've brought on Jeff Bauer from Homefield Group and Royal LePage, realtor and broker owner in a town of just 8,000 people, with 20 active agents competing for business. Most realtors would say that market is saturated. Jeff says there's still more than enough business for everyone. He shares how deep community engagement, genuine relationships, and truly loving where you live and where you love can turn too much competition into long-term success. Let's get to my chat with Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. Tell us, how did you arrive to real estate?
Yeah, so in about 2011, I was working in IT actually, and I had a friend who I played volleyball with that was a realtor at the local Royal LePage office. And I got talking to him about the business and how it might be a fit. And he encouraged me to begin working on my license. So I did that. I was working, 45 to 50 hours a week in my former job. So when I was doing the courses, it took a bit more time just because I would often just be too tired at the end of the day.
Yeah, the balance.
Yeah, exactly. So got through the courses, and then when I first started, I actually was I kept my day job and started part-time. That was no problem for our brokerage to accommodate. So for 2 years, I did both the IT job and started my real estate career. Following the first 2 years, well, the first year was like a part year, because I got my license partway through the year. And then the following 2 years, I did the exact same number of deals. So I had done in those, I guess we'll call it second and third year, I had done the exact same number of deals. And it was that number, I remember it clearly, was 11 deals I had done those years. So I realized that with the time that I had left after doing my day job, that kind of the maximum amount of business I was going to get through real estate was going to be in that, 11, 12 deals. It kind of had determined that for me.
Nice. Okay. So when did you quit your job and jumped all in?
Yeah, it's ironic that you use those terms, because I actually ended up breaking my ankle at one point, and I was considering the full transition to full-time realtor. And the broken ankle, I was no longer able to do my IT job because I had to go into a lot of different spots and that sort of thing. So mobility was important. So I had this break from my day job where I got to kind of somewhat get a taste of the full-time realtor life while I was on leave for my ankle. So following that, it felt like the appropriate time to move forward, and I took the plunge and became full-time realtor, and then shortly thereafter started pursuing my broker's license as well, just to ensure that I had all my options open as I moved through my career. So I'm about 4 or 5 years into my real estate career, and I'm full-time and broker at that point.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. So from one deal a month pretty much at the
Yeah.
beginning to full-time broker. You are now also a broker manager, broker owner of your brokerage, uh,
Yeah.
and you're chairman top realtor award. So tell us,
Yeah.
how do you go from one a month to all of these achievements?
Yeah, yeah. So it really came down to being able to have that full time focus and really reaching like full firing potential. I guess is what I'd call it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I started working a fair amount in the organized real estate. So after I got my broker's license, I um, joined our board of directors, and then was eventually elected the president of our local board. So I ended up making numerous relationships around Ontario and across Canada with various other people in organized real estate. So that was pretty good from just a visibility standpoint and a referral network standpoint. um, we are in a small town. Like I live and my office is in Goderich, which only has about 8,000 people. So it is a different kind of game here than a lot of uh, your subscribers might be accustomed to, because we've got 8,000 people and a fair number of realtors. Like my office alone has 10 agents, and then there's probably, we are the biggest office in Goderich, but there's probably another 15 to 20 agents that are actively working the Goderich market. So as much as I like to say there's always enough to go around, there is a lot of agents per person of population, I guess, in this area. But it if you, in any market, I think if you work hard and you create those relationships and you do things in an ethical and integrous type way, then business is going to find you. And we've been very lucky to be able to help a lot of people over the years, with what they needed to do for their families and their real estate needs.
That's amazing. That's amazing. When we're in a big city, a lot of realtors always say there's too many realtors, but for you, it's actually a very strong reality.
Yeah, the realtor per capita, that would be an interesting statistic to
Yeah.
to narrow down, because I feel like it would be pretty high in some of these smaller town
In
areas.
your small town. So
Yeah,
I guess you talked about integrity and doing a good job. And I'm sure in a small town, people talks. That's in every small town,
yeah,
and bigger towns. But so everybody talks. So how do
yeah,
you maintain your growth and continue doing business in a small town?
yeah. So it is a situation where, because there's that many realtors and everyone kind of knows everybody. Uh, I've been in multiple situations where there's a somebody who wants to sell their home, for instance, and they are friends or acquaintances with two or three realtors, right? And those are interesting and unique situations, and how an agent deals with the direction that something like that goes can really affect how things work in their career. Because I've lost out on listings from people that I thought I would have earned their business, because their cousin's wife is a whatever, right? Like it kind of happens in all places. But it's just because everybody knows everybody here, it happens more often. But you need to be able to take those things in stride and water off a duck's back on some of those situations, and not let it affect your relationship with people moving forward anyways. Like, just because somebody has decided at one point to transact with somebody or to work with them, doesn't mean that the next time they have an opportunity to share your name, how you dealt with that situation is going to be reflected on whether they ever give your name out. So the referral aspect of thing and the sphere of influence is super duper important, especially when you feel like everybody knows everybody.
Yes, definitely. What would you say, thinking back now, would be like a valuable lesson that you've learned throughout your career that made you apply now to your business something that will make you successful ongoing?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that's allowed me to continue to expand my business has just been some of the community outreach type things that we do here
Mm,
um, at the brokerage and individually. I love volunteering and philanthropy in the neighborhood. We were able to, along with the Goderich Tourism Department, establish a new festival in Goderich that
nice.
happens on the Labor Day weekend. And it's called the Salt and Harvest Festival because Goderich is home to the world's largest salt mine. And there's a lot of agricultural land around here too. So um, our good friends at the town of Goderich, along with the Royal LePage Heartland, were able to kind of establish this pretty awesome festival that we have in town here. So that's great exposure for our agents, a great event to have in the community, and something
Yeah.
that really aligns with our vision of town. And like, we love this town, right? That's what we're selling, is this town, not the houses always, right? So having those sorts of events where we're getting like fairly big musical acts in, and just tons of displays and activities for kids and all sorts of stuff. So that sort of thing, and volunteering and truly caring and giving back to my community is something that I realized early on is going to not only satisfy that piece of me that I long for, but also helps the community kind of see this is the kind of guy that Jeff is, or this is the kind of company that Royal LePage is, right?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, very good. I love it. I love that you said you're selling the town, not necessarily the houses, to a
Yeah, yeah,
community. It's
yeah,
much different. That's awesome.
yeah. People often have like a, they might not just be looking in Goderich; they could be looking in all sorts of small towns that are on lakes. There's a lot of them, right? So there's people sometimes need to know why they'd be picking the area that they are.
Yeah, very good. What would be one thing that for you is a non-negotiable in your business?
Non-negotiable. Yeah, I'm a like a strong believer in uh, the legislation that we do have that surrounds how realtors are to ethically and professionally provide their services. So I've always been and always will be one that will be in alignment with the rules and the regulations of our industry. And I don't have a problem with ensuring that if there's someone at another brokerage or an agent that I'm dealing with, if they don't necessarily understand things, because I've been in the business for 14 years, and broker, manager, past president, I feel an obligation to ensure that in a compassionate and caring way, that I let people know, hey, here's why. Here, there's kind of a fine line there. You don't want to seem like a person that's like a know-it-all, but you also want to ensure that the people that you're doing business with know exactly how things are supposed to be transacted.
Yeah, definitely follow the rules and apply them, right?
That's right.
Nothing. Uh, yeah, that's very good. And then what would be a key strategy in your business that you apply to continue to expand, like you said?
Hmm. Yeah. So I've for the last number of years, I've actually been um, doing it's a local trivia. There's a local brewery that I do trivia night at. So I really enjoy trivia. I've always have. So there was not really anything in my area that offered that as a as an activity, right? So
Mm,
I started one at the local brewery, Square Brew here in Godrich, and I've been hosting those trivia nights um, for the last 7 or 8 years now, I think. So I do it once a month, and
nice.
I didn't realize in the beginning that it was a really smart and good marketing idea, because it does put me face to face and like in front of people, um, providing some value to them. They get to go out on a Thursday night and have some fun and some drinks with their friends, and it shows that I'm a real person.
Mm-hmm.
and it shows that I'm not some schlub. I do know a little bit, and I can present myself in such a way, right? So it's after a while I realized, hey, this was actually a smart idea, and then I began to implement additional contests and things like that, and letting everybody know, which also allows me to, you know, get in touch with them by email and all those sorts of things. So that's been one that's been really fun. For me, it's, you know, it's a couple hours of getting ready for trivia, and then an hour out where I'm not too afraid of standing up in front of a group anymore, and we have a fun night of trivia. So that's one that's kind of like been a fun way to grow. Um, uh, more recently than it should be, I've been able to um, implement a little bit more in my CRM and outreach and getting some of that stuff kind of organized.
Yeah.
So if I had one piece of advice to somebody who was beginning in the industry, it would be to keep track of all your clients and have them in an organized fashion. Because when
Mm.
you come back years later and try to do it, you're not only busier at that point with ongoing clients, but it's just that much more of an ominous task for somebody to have to take care of.
Yeah, totally. You're talking like 14 years of business, of people, of contacts that now you're trying to put into a CRM, which
Yeah,
is smart advice to start fresh and early and do it
yeah.
one
It's
time.
easier to start with one than, you know, 1,000.
Totally. Totally. And I love your approach with like kind of lead generating, even though it's like a fun night, it's trivia, it's something you love. A lot of realtors sometimes they get bummed out with lead generation because they see it as door knocking, cold calling, but you actually took something that gives you energy that you think is fun for you, but also fun for other people to come. And then you just lead in some real estate in there, and that's
Yeah,
an easy sell.
they all, you know, they all know it doesn't require a hard sell for them to know. And now when I look around the room, I see like a room full of past and current and future clients, really. Like it's pretty interesting to see how many of them have decided to, because they people come back every month after they
Yeah.
start coming, right? So
Yeah.
it is interesting. And what started as like a fun thing to help my buddy who had the brewery has turned into a pretty good farm for me, honestly.
Yeah. So see, and another win. We always think about the win-win, right? You win, the people who come and have a good time win, but also your buddy who owns the brewery wins as well.
100%,
Wow,
100%.
wow, I love it. Such a cool story.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more in terms of marketing. What else do you do? Do you have like billboards? How does that work over there?
Yeah, so we've got a billboard for a new home development that we do, that was kind of at the request of the developer and the builder, that we have something like that. So we've got a couple of billboards. Obviously, you know, social media. We try to put out some various and interesting posts when it comes to our um, our development and then our listings and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, we we do the community events and that sort of stuff. I would tend to classify under some of the marketing as well, and I would it's often there's a bit of a blurred line sometimes when I look at budget things, where it's, is this, does this go under charity or does this go under marketing, and often those two are kind of blended. um, but yeah, the that would be our primary forms of marketing. There is it's a double-edged sword for me, because it does, like in my marketing, because like whether it's me, my team, my brokerage office team, or our greater brokerage in total, there's an interesting difficulty that we sometimes have, where we like depending on how people do their marketing, they you want to show the public that you're good at your job,
Yeah.
right? So for me personally, it's always been a bit of a hurdle to be able to, without being like, oh look, we sold more houses, we helped more clients move in and out of their properties than anyone else. It's always been a little bit like, ew, I don't like that, right? So it's always been, that's one that we always kind of struggle with, was like, how do we let people know that we're a great choice for them and have been for a lot of people, without being like braggy about it, or
Yeah.
seeming like you're just like a pushy salesman, because that's not what we are, right? So that's something that we've always struggled with.
I totally see that as also from a small town. If you say like we've sold 8,000 houses, like that's one per
Yeah,
house, right? So I would think, yeah, it would be more about uh, being the face of real estate, being like a face that people recognize, a friendly face that does fun events, but and being a knowledgeable realtor. So how do you like get both in there? That's interesting.
yeah, it's a tricky one when probably half of the town knows who you are. Right? Like it's like, like, but like you want them to know who you are, but also know that you'll do a good job for them. So it's I don't know. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure. So I guess we can talk too about the fact that you are, as a broker, you're helping other realtors in your brokerage being successful. And how do you go about that?
Yeah, so it is a unique situation, because in small towns you don't have um, you don't have big brokerages models that you would see in the cities, obviously, just based on numbers. So in order for a real estate broker to make a living, one needs to be a selling broker. There's really no two ways about it, or else it would be a very difficult. You'd have to have basically every single agent in the county working for you if you wanted to have a full time managing broker. So there is the conversation that I always have with agents that are from the city, where it's like, well, so you're competing with your own agents then, right? It's like, well, there's lots to go around, and if I'm ever like directly competing for a listing with one of my agents, I would never knowingly um proceed with that, right? Like I'm not going to step on my agent's toes. uh it's an interesting thing to be both um supporting your agents, when also technically you are drinking from the same trough, right? So you do it does require some careful navigation, but through the established relationships that we have with our agents and ongoing mentoring and support, it seems to work quite nicely. But sometimes it feels like I have like two full-time jobs, but everyone's understanding, and we all get along quite well,
Yeah,
so
I can
it works.
I can see that. We have some brokerages here too that the broker manager owner also sells real estate. There's both ways to explain it. Sometimes they say that way you have your feet wet in the real estate transaction, so you're going through all the motions, so you're actually more knowledgeable to be
Yeah.
able to support them. So I don't, yeah, I think that's a great thing. How do you support your agents? What do you do for them?
Yeah, so it's a nice model here, actually, because there is three of us that are broker owners that all do sell as well. So the primary thing is that the agents know that they can pick up the phone and call any of the three of us whenever they need some support. So that's a big piece of our value proposition to our agents is, if you call Jeff and he's busy, then you call Matt. And if Matt can't pick up, then you call Rick, or whatever order people are calling you in. If one of the three of us doesn't pick up, that would be a pretty unlikely scenario. And if that scenario were the case, it would probably mean that the three of us were meeting, and by the time it went to the third person, we would realize that this is pretty urgent. So that's kind of we can spread that responsibility amongst the three of us. And then because we do sell, as you said, like that does give us the experience to be able to support our agents in such a way that they can trust that we know what they're going through, and able to comment directly on how the market is and how things are changing. And the boots on the ground is definitely a huge advantage to be able to cite specific examples and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And then of course we have, office meetings and full brokerage meetings and all the stuff, just like you would anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I love it. Very cool. Very different approach.
Yeah.
I have a segment of the podcast that is called the rapid fire questions. Some of them
Oh,
we've already talked about, but are you ready for the rapid fire
I
questions?
guess.
All right, let's start with what is your best marketing strategy right now?
Right now, best marketing strategy is trivia.
Love it. What's your best social media tactic?
Uh, I tactics are not necessarily the best, but I would say when I post something that's endearing, I get good engagement.
Okay, okay, very cool. I would ask you, tell us more. What examples do you have that fit that
When
box?
Yeah, if I'm out in the community doing something and I'm showing some passion about raising money for the women's shelter or putting on a festival or coaching my kids at the Ball Diamond, those sorts of things tend to get pretty good social media engagement.
Yeah, love it. Very cool. Okay, if you could use only one marketing tool or platform for 1 year, what would it be?
One marketing tool or platform. Uh, does calling people on the phone count?
Yeah, yeah, that's your tactic, I guess.
Yeah, so I would say based on what I have in my CRM and contacts that if I had to give up everything else, I would keep just I would keep using the phone and calling the people that already know, like, and trust me.
Nice, love it. Nurturing that database for one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. What is your top income generating activity?
Top income generating activity probably right now would be our new build. Like, do you mean from a marketing perspective or just in general?
Business in general, yeah, from
Yeah, so
business.
I would say that our new build construction subdivision, probably, the marketing around that brings in buyers and sellers would be probably the, aside from the general sphere of influence stuff, that development's probably right up there.
Very cool. Keeps you top of mind. Which activity should every realtor drop?
Which activity should every realtor drop?
Mhm.
They should. Is this like my personal opinion?
Yes.
I think that every realtor should drop standing in front of every single listing saying, "Welcome to such and such." For every single listing, to me, it gets a little bit old, but that's just me.
Okay. Love it. Yeah, yeah. That's what it's for. It's your opinion, this whole thing.
Yeah.
And how do you win more listings?
How do I win more listings?
Mhm.
I've been told that when I sit and listen uh, to somebody and make a real connection with them, that is probably the top way that I've been able to secure as much business is by just actually being there and present and listening to exactly what somebody is asking for, and actively listening and really paying attention.
I love it. Yeah, a true connection.
Absolutely.
Nice. Okay. What is one piece of real estate advice that you disagree with?
Just need a minute for that one. Real estate advice that I disagree with would be um, I would say getting too stuck in, as much as systems are important,
Mm,
getting too stuck in a system, um, I think can be detrimental to people being able to explore new options or thinking about things in new and refreshing ways. So getting too system driven, I think, would be to a fault. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really good visual, like to step out of the box to be able to innovate, but still have the box for your foundation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. No, very cool. What's the best advice you have ever received?
I would have to say the best advice that I've received kind of relates to the last thing, but um, don't try to fake it, because people will definitely know that you're not being yourself. So never try
Mhm.
to fake it. Just always be yourself.
Wow, I love it. Full circle from the beginning of a conversation where you talk about integrity and how you show up and how people see you.
Yeah.
True, true. If there is one piece of advice you would leave for every realtor out there, what would it be?
It's, if you connect with people in a real and positive way, there's going to be people that are not going to they're still not going to work with you. And you know what? Um, it's probably better to not work with those people anyways. You've got There's more than enough business for all of us, and wouldn't it feel nice if all of us could work with people that we know we're just genuinely gonna connect with, have the same sort of principles, and be able to have a trusting, nice and friendly approach with it. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
I love it. Someone's going to listen to you and you're going to listen to them and everything's going to work out.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I love it. Before we end today, what is your year 2026 going to look like? What do you have in the pipeline or in your goals or strategy for the year?
Yeah, so this year we've actually been a little bit more formal in some of our quarterly type goals. So that's in and of itself been a goal. Was,
Yeah.
as much as I said earlier, not to get too structured. There's also the flip side of that, that having a bit more of that structure can go a long way. So um, the goal this year is to ensure that we have our pipeline uh, up to date, accurate, and that at the end of the year, if we look at our trades and we look at what's in our pipeline, that those two numbers are the same is actually our goal this year, that
Wow.
everything got in there that was supposed to.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. Everything will be tracked.
Of course, yeah,
And then
that's the goal. That's the
the
goal.
goal. Nice. How will you guys celebrate when it's done?
We'll probably have a meeting with our real estate coach on Zoom, and
Nice.
we'll probably give each other a high five and a virtual high five. We're big on the high fives.
Nice, nice. I love it. I love it. Very cool. Okay, and then so tell us where do we find you? How do we connect with you if anybody has some questions or wants to reach out?
Yeah, so we've got on social media, we're Homefield Group is the team name. My name's Jeff Bauer. So Homefield Group on Instagram, Facebook, and the website is homefieldgroup.ca. The brokerage that I own and manage with my partners is Royal LePage Heartland, and we service Huron County and Goderich area on the shores of Lake Huron.
Nice. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I think that's a great conversation. You had lots to share with realtors. And I think it applies for whatever city you're in. It doesn't matter small or big. It's all the
Some
same.
things are universal, that's for sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for tuning in to the Sold Right Away podcast, where serious realtors come to think bigger, execute smarter, and win more listings. If today's episode challenged you, sharpened you, or made you rethink how you're running your business, don't just listen and move on. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this with a realtor who needs to step it up. And now, I want to know, what is the marketing bottleneck in your business right now? Is it leads, visibility, conversion, consistency, branding? Don't guess your way through it. Book a 15-minute strategy call with me at soldrightaway.com and let's build a plan that actually moves the needle. Until next time, market smarter, move faster, and win your market.